Okay, this will be an interesting one. It's something that I do like, but it's not something that I'm gonna buy, because I'm already happy with the product I've got, and I don't want to waste money and pollute our planet unnecessarily. So basically I've got what I need, and I'm not gonna try to keep up with the latest trends or technologies, just so I'm not interested in basically wasting resources just to have the latest version. I only want to replace it when it needs actually to be replaced, not before it. So I wonder what colour we're going to use for this. I'm actually thinking yellow, but basically, yeah, you got to think before you consume. You don't want to be. Now we're going to go here. We're going to lose the contrast. This will be an interesting one if we can make it look really nice. But it's a piece of advertising material that I picked up just to demo with. So let's see if we can make this look any good. All right, what is this piece of advertising material? It is Samsung Galaxy S10. So this is the latest phone. The phone that I'm holding in my hand that I'm making this video with is an S8 Plus. So it's 2 years old nearly. I've had this phone for nearly 2 years, and it's doing me just fine. I don't need to update, or not update, should I say replace, or should I say trade up from what I've got in my hand, because it still performs well enough for me, and I do want to give the planet a bit of a rest from the recycling and the mining. I'm not interested in. I appreciate what it feels to have a new product in your hand. It's like a bit of a high, a bit of a kick. That looks interesting, but it's not quite what I wanted. It's basically, I understand how it feels to want the greatest, latest and the greatest, as they say, but it's not good for the planet. It is not necessary to have the latest machinery or whatever. We need to consider our planet first before we consume. We mustn't consume too much. We must basically, we're just going to make this a little bit different. So yeah, we don't need to have the latest and the greatest equipment all the time. I'm hoping this phone will get I'm hoping to get an extra 3 years out of this current model that I've got. This S8 Plus. I want to hang on to it for at least another 3 years before I trade up. So I'm going to give this phone in my hand a lot extra time. Once I can't update the software, well, that's when I'll consider getting a new phone. But I don't want to get a new phone just because Samsung told me I had to, or that I feel that I want the latest and the greatest. We don't need the latest and the greatest unless it's got technology that you otherwise need. Like I needed this phone. My Galaxy Nexus was getting old, and basically needed to be. I needed a camera that could shoot in bad light, and I needed a micro SD card slot so I could shoot videos onto the phone, onto the card instead of onto the phone. So I had certain needs that my current equipment that I had back then couldn't satisfy. And I'm really glad I did. And I got this phone on a Vodafone plan, and it's nearly expired. And I'm not going to get on another plan. I'm not going to try that. I'm happy enough with what I've got, so I'm not going to I wonder what colour we're going to use for this. I'm going to get rid of the cyan, I think, or maybe we're just going to leave it. But yeah, I just wanted certain features on this phone that this phone had that my old equipment didn't have. Now that, I think, is going to be the centre of the job. So yeah, you just have to consider what's needed rather than what you want, as in what you want just to keep up with the Joneses, for example, or to try and be the latest. I mean, sure, I understand it, what it's like to be a nerd. I've got a good idea of how that feels. But sometimes you just have to swallow your pride and just accept that what you've got is adequate. It's not good for the planet or the human race to consume too much. You've got to try and minimise your footprint on the planet. Now that's interesting. You've got to try to consider the planet and consider the human race over what's the greatest, latest and the greatest, because latest and greatest doesn't always equate. It doesn't always equate to a better product, folks. It's not always a better product. I mean, often, especially with Apple, I must admit I prefer Android because Apple doesn't seem to be innovating anymore. They also took out the headphone jack, and they've made other stupid mistakes. So basically I'm not happy with Apple. Apple don't seem to make anything new or exciting. And they seem to, as I said, they took out the headphone jack. And I'm trying to think, there's another thing they did wrong, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. But basically, they're not as good as what... Yeah, they just... How should I put it? They've just lost since Stephen Jobs died and was taken over by Tim Cook. Tim Cook just hasn't had the same ability that Stephen Jobs had, and there just seems to be problems with some of the phones. Don't quote me, I don't know what the problems are, so I can't say too much, but I know that it was stupid removing the headphone jack. Why would you want to do that? You know, you can't use wireless headphones on an airplane when it's taking off or whatever it is. So you know you need, and it's stupid the way you have to buy dongles so that you can use your ordinary headphones, or you have to buy all those proprietary headphones that come with a lightning, which come already with a lightning plug. So it's really dumb. I don't have any faith in Apple, and yeah, they don't have a micro SD card like Samsung do. That's the one. So you have to shoot all your videos on your iPhone onto the fucking hard drive. No, that's not good enough, Apple. So that's why I take Samsung over you any day. But that's enough of that. I'm not a Samsung fangirl, because I know Samsung have done some stupid things too, like in 2016, the Note 7 debacle with the batteries catching fire. So I haven't forgotten Samsung. You're fucking wrong, and that was to compete with the iPhone 7. So enough about that. That's what I had to say. Gotta go.